Do you think manifestation works?
I think it does, but you want to be careful what you wish for.
What is your favorite part of Gurbani?
It's very simple, death.
Until now, I only know that there were 10 gurus.
10
And then 5 were Sikhis and 5 were non-Sikhis. I didn't.
lights of all the gurus. It's in the Guru Granth Sahib. So actually the Sikh Guru is actually Shabad Guru.
When we know what's the higher purpose, the cars, the buildings, the houses, it doesn't make any sense.
Because they're making a fundamental mistake that once I get this thing, I will be happy. That will never happen.
First of all, how would you like to introduce yourself to the audience who's listening to you?
My name is Pal Singh. So I was actually born in Canada, and I've lived in Canada, and then I lived in India for about 4 years. And then I moved to Australia in 1998. So 26 years here, 4 years in Mumbai. And then when I was a child, I lived 2 years in India in a boarding school. So yeah, so I've been around a little bit.
So can we also say that the other teachings as well given in Guru Granth Sahib, like if we read, it says that Nanak Naam jahaja chade sutre par. So do you think we can have that name as a kirpan with us, which helps us to fight with everything that is going in our life? Because if we look very closely to all the religions, like if you look at maybe Brahm things, so they also chant Narayan.
Yeah.
Narayan is also the name of the gods. And if we talk about us, like if I talk about myself, we also chant the names of the god. If we talk about Sikhism as well, they also chant the names of the god.
Correct.
So I think if we look very closely, it all comes down to one thing, that the name in Kali Yuga is the entire potency of you to give moksha as well is in the name itself.
It is. If it's like Tiger Woods, it's very simple. If you want to become world famous and rich and successful in everything, there's 100 meters you have to run the fastest. It's not a hard job to do. Yes, it is very simple, but the complexity underneath it is very hard. Waheguru means it's got, Haha is Hari, Govind, Rara Ram, Vava, Vasudev. It's not just Waheguru doesn't mean wonderful Guru. It's clearly written in Bhai Gurdasi Vara. So then you have to figure out, well, why is Hari in there? Why is this? Govinda, who is this? So it opens a giant package. So I don't think for the average person, just sitting there Naam jumping is going to get them very far. I personally don't believe that. They say, when they say that that's all you need, yes, that's all you need once you understand what it is. And I think people use their imagination grossly on what they think it is, right? Because if you really understood what it is, you've already got Brahm Gyan. So I think going to just doing Narayan, and the simple test of that is very simple. If you think you can sit there and just Naam Jap, put a timer on, see if you can concentrate for 5 minutes straight without your mind wandering. So without even having the most basic level of concentration, you have no hope of Naam Japping to begin with. And everyone says they can, and I think it's very simple. Start a timer, just focus on, forget anything complicated. Just focus on your breath, just the sensation on your nose or something. See if you can hold that without failing for 5 minutes only. You will not be able to, I guarantee it. It'll take you years to get to 5 minutes. So how, Naam Japping, yes, correct, Narayan, correct. If you can actually do it, you won't be able to do it. There's your problem.
I mean, like if I talk about myself, I definitely won't be able to do it until it's the mercy of the Guru. That is where it worked for me. I don't know if it can be different for everyone.
Yeah, you need the blessings. I agree with you.
So you need someone who's guiding.
I would say mercy, I would say blessing.
Yeah, blessing, like for me it's mercy as well, because it's like, for me, my life is being driven by my Guru. So that is how I function, that is how I work. And like for Naam Japa, I know for me and for people around me who are doing the same thing, if you talk to them, they say that it's very difficult to focus on the names of the God. Like if you're sitting there
on anything, it's difficult to focus on.
It's very difficult. But name itself has the potency,
correct,
to make you capable of that.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you even if you do it in a not pious way, even if you're not doing in a concentrated way, it helps you.
It does help, correct.
So that is what I figured out.
But I'm coming from the angle that if you've got manifest anxiety, manifest depression, manifest greed.
Do you think manifestation works? I'm
I think
sorry
it
to cut you
does.
off.
No, I think it does, but you want to be careful what you wish for, because you can manifest. So where you're sitting right now, like, you're literally sitting in the world, some of the world's best conditions, right? But everybody around here has got some sort of depression or anxiety. We're also sitting in the highest depression and anxiety
That's true.
of the world, essentially. Like, and I think Melbourne, central Melbourne, is almost the center point of it too.
Yeah.
So they've manifested the best conditions, but it hasn't gotten them anywhere, right? So I think, yes, you can manifest it, but what you want to manifest is happiness. And we would say in Sikhi, like, Preeti for Guru de Charna. So love for your Guru's feet, right? So I think that's what you really want to manifest, because houses, cars, everything, people, accomplishments, they come and they go, right? So yeah, so I do believe in manifestation, but I personally don't do it because I don't see the point.
It's very easy, like for people like us, when we know what's the purpose of life, when we know what's the higher purpose,
Yeah.
we can say that it's very doesn't make any sense. The cars, the buildings, the houses, it doesn't make any sense. But what is your suggestions to the people out there who are chasing the same thing? And when yesterday I was with like 20 people around me, and I was talking to each one of them. And one thing I figured out, which was common in everyone, that everyone has depression at some point in their life. Either their car mortgage is pending,
Yeah.
their house mortgage is there, or they are building the house. Someone is stressful because of their PR,
Correct. Yeah.
some citizenship. So everyone is just going through something in their life.
No, because they're making a fundamental mistake. They're mistaking this idea that once I get this thing, I will be happy. That will never happen, because the PR guy is going to have a new problem next about getting a house. Then he's going to have a next problem about kids, whatever. So this habit is never going to fix, right? There is not a single world. I mean, I'd give someone a challenge, a single worldly item outside of your mind, which you can say, I've got it, now I'm happy, I don't want any more. It doesn't exist. So worldly trishna, thirst for the world is like drinking salt water. The more you drink, the more you have to drink. It is impossible. So therefore, why would I want to manifest more misery? Because and I know what everyone says, just when I get this, I'll be happy. But do we really believe that? No, because we easily know once the PR comes, you're going to want a job.
Yeah.
Right? Once your job's done, the house is done, the kids are done, the career is done, the status is done, then you're going to want some health and time, right? You're not going to get your health back, and time doesn't come back. So it's 100% you're going to fall off a cliff. It's just a matter of when you're going to fall off the cliff. So therefore, careful what you manifest.
That's true.
Now, the goal of getting these things is because you're trying to satisfy. So inner peace, because once you get it, you feel peaceful. I got it. I'm happy. I'm peaceful. There's two ways to get peace. One way is you get the item, you will be peaceful. You're craving ice cream, you eat your ice cream. My mind is at rest. I'm peaceful. Okay, we all know what's going to happen next. The ice cream's going to have to get bigger and better, correct? So the only other way of getting peace is by stopping the craving,
Yeah, that's true.
because that's the ultimate solution. Because the other solution, so there's only two ways: either not have the craving, or you satisfy your craving. Satisfy craving will never cease. Stopping the craving, yes. Now, how do you stop craving? Very simple. You're not going to crave something that's the cause of misery, correct? No one does that. So if you can correctly identify whatever you're manifesting and craving is a future cause of misery, you will automatically stop craving it. So that, because craving falls into uncontrolled desire, that's the problem. Whereas desire is not a problem. A desire is, if I get the ice cream, great. If I don't get it, fair enough. Uncontrolled is, I need that ice cream on the beach on the day, otherwise it's not going to be a good day for me. You see, so the point is that uncontrolled desire is a problem, not desire itself. So that's where Sikhi and the correct version of Buddhism falls into the middle way. No desire is not really it, because you need some desire for liberation. And worldly hardcore desire is not good. There's a middle. It's called the middle way for a reason. And Sikhi falls into that. So we don't fall into extremes of world, and we don't fall into extremes of it's all a dream and nothing's happening, right? So the middle way, it is, yeah.
When you talk about inner peace,
Yeah.
like you've mentioned inner peace, going inside, what does inner peace and going inside means?
Well, what it means is, forget about what it means. Think about what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean craving. You can't have craving in inner peace, correct? So what's your first job? Get rid of craving. Craving means uncontrolled desire, which is I need this PR, I need this, right? And that's, you practice contentment, right? Inner peace does not mean anger. You can't be angry and peaceful at the same time, right? So you need to eliminate your anger. How do you eliminate anger? By patience, right? Just sit back, just see the thing through, and then act. Still do the act of it. Like in Sikhi, if you need to kill someone, you need to kill someone. But you're doing it not because you're angry. You're doing it because this is the best course forward for everybody involved that youth can come up with. So that doesn't change your actions. It's your mind. So inner peace is you get rid of all your delusions, your your Karam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, your lust, anger, those greed.
Yeah, the 5 things that
Yeah, the 5 things, right?
Kaam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad Matsar.
Yeah. So when you eliminate them, inner peace is just sitting there waiting. The goal is to eliminate, and the peace shows up. The goal is, the Western view and the Abrahamic faith view is to do things to get inner peace. The Eastern view is to not do things. It's just because it's already sitting there. So when you have truly eliminated ignorance, inner peace, nirvana is just there for you, right? Because you can see, because right now in ignorance you see the world a certain way. Eliminate that and you see the world as it's true, and that's ignorance lifted. So that's inner peace, really.
But you make it sound really easy, but I don't think so. It's that easy because, for example, for the people out there who doesn't know what spirituality is and they don't know what religion is,
Yeah.
and maximum youngsters, they don't know what that is and they don't believe in anything. Like,
You
trust
don't
me.
have to, but you will believe that if you eliminate anger, your mind will be peaceful. You will
It's not
believe
that
that.
easy. Like, we just can't.
Well, that's why this is a long journey. The job is easy. 100-meter sprint is easy. Run, good luck. That's all it is. So the job is, the goal is that's the beauty of it. The goal is very simple. You can never forget your goal. I need to eliminate these negative states of mind. And then my nature, which is you could say your godlike nature, Buddha nature, root mind, whatever thing
Whatever
you
you
want to put
follow,
on it,
yeah.
is sitting there. You just have to eliminate it. And that's nirvana. What's nirvana? Nirvana isn't that you've reached, someone who's sitting there who's reached nirvana doesn't automatically have different physical features. They put an end to their suffering completely because their mind has changed. So no more suffering can ever touch them. That's the goal of Jivan Mukt, Jivan living liberated. So the only difference between them and you is that they've just eliminated all their mind things, and you've got these precious human few hundred months to do this. If you don't do it, then good luck. And then youth is the best time to do it because you got all your facilities then.
And you practice as well.
And
Because in Bhagavad Gita also it says Abhyas Yog Yuktena. So that means you get better at what you practice.
Of course.
For example, I give this example that if you practice cricket 3 years,
Correct.
will you be as good as Virat Kohli? Maybe not. But will you be better at playing the sport?
Correct.
100%. So for years we have practiced to be disturbed. We have practiced to be distracted.
Correct.
So how can we just...
So now you have to change. So it's like a jungle path, right? Or we've been going down a certain path. It's a very clear path now because we've been trotting down it so long. There's another path, which is the path to inner peace, which is filled with weeds. The more you start walking down that path, the other distracting path just stops to, so you have to basically, because why are you going down the other path? Very simple. You think happiness lies there. It's so obvious that it doesn't, because once you get that, you're never going to be happy. You're just going to chase the next thing. So the way to do that, to prove it to yourself, is, I believe, manifest the biggest house, the best car, get everything, get loaded, get everything, and then you'll realize how empty it is, and then you'll automatically go down the other path.
Yeah, that's
So I believe you should go and get rich and get everything and become Shah Rukh Khan if you want. just so you can. So that's one of the views definitely that's used in Buddhism, is they study all the wrong views so that you're really familiar with what's wrong. So then you know what to do, what's right. You get more appreciation, right?
true.
Yeah, by touching. You know what I mean? By going down the wrong path. Yeah.
There was one beautiful. I was listening the interview of Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He's a famous actor. So he says that I wish everyone reaches what I've done in life. Everyone reaches that kind of fame and money, and when they reach at that point, then they realize this is not the answer.
No, because it can't be there. It's not sitting there. Yeah, right. The other simple way of looking at this is the simplest way, which you don't need. So I haven't mentioned religion because it's very practical. You don't need religion to verify this. Someone says a new house is going to make me happy, right? It's a common thing. Or a new child will make me happy. All right, let's think about what's happiness. It's a feeling in the mind, correct? Yeah. So anyone who's done physics, biology can know there's no way you can get electricity and dopamine from a baby, a carcass, which is just meat and muscle, sitting 10 meters away. It cannot it's how you view the baby that makes you happy, right? So therefore, the object is never going to be happy or sadness. You have to change your view of the world.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So you can't get, you can make happiness anywhere. It's just how you view it, right?
I think everything is just comes down to what exactly your mental space you are in.
How you relate to it.
How do you relate? How you see the
How
world.
you see the world. See?
There was one beautiful story. It was like there were two pandits. They were just sitting there.
Yeah.
And someone called them for dinner.
Yeah.
So they went there. One came out sad and one was happy.
Correct.
So
Ate the same dinner.
at the same dinner, and someone asked you why you are happy. This first pandit, and he was like, I was expecting that I'll get nothing today.
Yeah.
I got a very good dinner and I got 10 rupees as a dakshina as well.
Yeah.
And from the other one, he asked, he was like, I was expecting I'll get a dinner and I'll get 100 rupees in dakshina.
Yeah.
And he was not happy at all. So I think that is, you can relate to that story that, you know, happiness lies in one's eyes and then how they see the world.
But we're programmed, and the more we do basically Bollywood and social media, the more we're programmed to think happiness lies in the watch. Everyone's watching that that wedding, that billionaire's wedding, right?
Ambani, sir.
Ambani. Well, I mean, look at him, right? But the point is that, does he look happy to you? He's the world's richest with the best wedding. Doesn't look happy to me, right? Because he's just made a mistake in the way he's seeing the world, like a physics mistake. Like, you know, you make one mistake in physics, everything's wrong after that. So he's just made the simple mistake he's made is that he thinks something outside is going to cause a chemical reaction inside. It cannot. Now the guru comes in because how did I figure this out? I didn't just wake up one day and go, I reckon a chemical reaction causes this and this makes me happy. I didn't work this out on my own, even though it's so simple.
Yeah.
I was told it. Now, if someone tells me this, I'm like, you've just changed the course of my life, right? Because it's not possible. Even though I can't do it, I understand it and I've got something to aim for. Then the guru tells you a few other things like, don't worry about Trishna, it'll keep on getting, you know, that you're only alive for a few hundred months, you're going to be dead soon, right? So naturally, you want to then respect your guru, become like your guru. Just think about your guru all the time because they're the ones that are driving you now.
I think you become what you think of.
Of course you do. So that's where the Sikhi is, because you start to emulate the guru. You want to become like the guru. Just like anyone's obsessed with Tiger Woods, will start to walk, talk, drink, literally be like Tiger Woods. So it's because there's a reason for it. So my reason is because I'm like, I finally found the one thing that's going to eliminate trillions of years of problems. I better make the best of this moment, right? Now, why I think that the average person cannot just go and sit in samadhi and just abandon everything is because these are seeds you plant. You can't plant the seed and keep watering it and making it grow. It's going to take its time, right? So as long as the seeds are planted and you're just giving enough water, which is practically what it looks like is 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes a day of some sort of spirituality, just let it rest. It'll just grow. In the meantime, do whatever you want within reason without causing more negative karma. So I think spirituality is very easy as long as you're willing to dedicate. Just like cricket, you want to be the best cricketer. You can't practice 6 hours on your first day, right? You got to
Slowly.
You got to hit the ball once to see what it is. You sit on it, dwell on it, you build on it. So I think spirituality, practically, you do your 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you just stop. Just go back to your normal day-to-day life, just keeping little bits in mind without and the purpose of doing good things is because it creates the necessary good soil for the seed to grow, right? So you don't want to go out in your spare time, get angry and stuff, because it's going to be harder for the seed to grow. It'll still grow in a future lifetime, like it never goes wasted, but why?
But sometimes it's become really difficult. Like if we've done our meditation, and if there's some situation in a day which is really provoking to us,
Not sometimes, always difficult.
and yeah, it's really
Always
difficult.
difficult.
Yeah. So how do you manage that
So
situation?
it comes because you need blessings of the Guru, right? You need Sangat, Sangha. You need spiritual minded people, and you need to understand the teachings. If you get those three, there's no way that you cannot. Because if you understood the teachings, you know why it's happening, right? If you then have a guru, you got more confidence in putting the teachings in, and if you have the support of Sangat, Sangha, then you are able to just chat and go, look, man, I'm having this problem. What do I do about it? So yes, yeah. So you need those three. You can't just do it just on one. I mean, try it if you want. You
I've
won't. You
tried
won't.
it. It doesn't work
It
like
doesn't
that.
work like that.
And I think everyone who's gone through this path, like if you talk about Guru and everyone who is going through this path, they followed this path.
Yeah.
That is where you need to listen to them, because they've gone through, like, if I talk about myself, I used to think like I can achieve this on my own. Like I don't need association. And I later figured out the association is the only, like, one of the very important way, because you become what you associate with.
Yeah.
And it was really important to associate with people who are like-minded, who are the way I think.
Yeah.
So my next question too is that if we talk about youth out there, I mean, I have all my friends, as I was telling you before, they are in stress, they are in anxiety, and the numbers are growing drastically.
Right.
And I mean, how would you suggest the youth out there to help their mental health first? And second, how can we connect mental health and spirituality together?
Basically, inner peace. You can't have anxiety and inner peace at the same time. Correct? It's opposites. So it's actually us. Everyone's got to strive for happiness and inner peace. Happiness is inner peace, right? Like, so everyone's got to strive for inner peace, but the methods they're doing is incorrect. So a simple method is you just think, will this bring me closer to inner peace or will it not? If it doesn't stop it, but you still do it because you got such attachment to it. You still want to do it. Like, scrolling for 3 hours on Instagram Reels is not going to bring you inner peace. You know this. Everybody knows this. It'll make
We
you
still
feel
do
bad.
it.
But you still do it because you're suffering from attachment. Why you're suffering from attachment is the mind is always seeking happiness, right? Every action, every thought has only two things, either happiness or avoiding suffering, which is happiness again. Everything from an ant will avoid the hot spot, right? Even the guy who's going to kill himself is seeking happiness because it's less miserable to die than being alive. So even at death, you're seeking happiness. So it's just because you're seeking happiness in the wrong spot, you're never going to find it. But attachment happens because you believe that's my happiness. I'm naturally going to get attached to it. It should not leave me. So your mind is grabbing onto the Instagram and thinking my happiness is here. And then your mind plays tricks on it. You know how it works? They give you one good, useful reel for every 10 non-useful reels, right? So your mind naturally is grasping onto this idea because I get attached. And once you get attached, it's just a sure recipe for disaster. Attachment will always lead to suffering.
So then, how to be detached?
How do we detach is knowing, first of all, like so obvious that nothing out there is going to cause me happiness. So the Buddhist actually said it very well. This world, external world, is a misery-causing world. Everything is misery if you look at it. Pick me one thing that isn't. My beautiful house, it'll crumble, it'll be gone. I won't be able to walk up it one day when I'm sick. Misery causing. If I'm CEO of Microsoft, misery causing when I'm getting my nappies changed in a nursing home and no one knows and nobody cares who I am. Misery causing. Flowers will die. Misery causing. So you have to see the world as giant misery causing, and that's why we want mukti from it. But we're told by very Western influences, the world is a beautiful place. Look at the sunshine. Look at this. Life is beautiful. That's not the Eastern view. Eastern view, life is suffering, and you need to stop the cycle. No one is going to click for that, but it's the truth, and you can verify in your own existence.
Yeah, that's
See?
true. But all of my friends, like, if I talk these things to
They'll say
them,
you're depressed if you say that.
sorry, what?
If you tell them the world is misery causing,
They
they're
say,
gonna
yeah,
say you're depressed.
yeah, that's true.
And I'm saying, call me what you like, but find me the one object that's not misery causing then. It doesn't eventually end in misery. right? Find me one object, and you've broken all of Eastern religion philosophy in 1 second. You won't. They haven't found one in 6,000 years, so you're not going to find one, right? So therefore, how can you become attached to a misery-causing object? And that's why you have the Eastern tradition where sadhus go, "I'm going to renounce the world," right? What Sikhi says is that misery, every object is misery causing. It's very hard to get your mind sorted in a misery causing world. That's what Sikhi says. Sikhi then says, if you think that's hard without any belongings and clothing, how about you try it
With
in the world?
yeah, that's true.
Right? So if you can nail that job, therefore the sadhu sant is quite easy for you because you've nailed a harder job. So it's like learning to swim in a tornado, in a hurricane, versus learning to swim in a pool. So Sikhi says, go into the hurricane and learn to swim there. If you can manage that, you've nailed life. So
Bhagavad Gita beautifully explains that attachment is not that you are attached to what you are doing. I mean, detachment, sorry. Detachment is not what
yes,
you are doing.
correct. It's a mental factor.
Detachment is you are detached from the results of the actions that you are doing.
Yeah, but also, how can you attach to something that's misery causing to begin with? If you see the object as misery causing, how can you become attached to it? It's even more simple than that.
I mean that if you know that it's gonna be misery causing,
But every
then for
object
sure.
is.
But
There's a simple rule.
people like if you talk to youngsters, like if I talk about my friend who I was talking to him yesterday, he's applied for 7 jobs now. He's working in a really good company, earning good dollars.
Fantastic.
And now he's looking for another job. And I think once he cracked that job, he'll probably down the line in 3 years look for another
Another
one.
job. So
And that is what I told him. I was like, you changed 3 jobs right in front of me.
yes,
And nothing is changed. Why? Because you are not changing.
correct.
If you wake up 10 a.m. every day and sit on the laptop and work for 3 hours a day and then just go to sleep, in every company, nothing is going to change. You'll keep on looking for a new job every 2 years. If you actually change yourself and start putting in efforts on what you actually love to do and what is given to you, you'll see a massive difference in. And that is what I think. If you talk about religion as well, the basic thing, I can be wrong as well, it's that you also need to focus on the karam, the karam that is given to you. You need to be 100% efficient in your work as well. You are not going to be like, you're not going to do this work. I'm not, if I'm into spirituality, I'm not going to do this work. Yeah, I think that is exactly when Arjuna told Krishna that I don't want to fight and I want to run away from the battlefield.
Correct, yeah.
Krishna said that that's not what your duty is. Your
That's it.
duty is to fight and to work on what is given to you, not to
Correct.
fight and just be renunciate and go in the
Correct.
forest and just meditate. If we now talk about Sikhism, how did it started? Like, what was the origin of?
Yeah.
Because people are still confused. Like, if we talk to people out there, like I was talking to people, and they're still confused where people sometimes. So, if I'm not wrong, I can be wrong as well. I'm not too sure about it. It was also because to s- to help Hindus as well, like all the
It
pandits.
depends on which view. If you want to take the simple world view and that politics of the last few hundred years, then yeah, I guess it works for you, right? But remember, give it another 4,000 years, there's going to be no Hindus and no Sikhs. It'll be a whole different world again, right? So that's a very small thinking. I think the way, and it's in Gurbani, that Guru Nanak didn't just show up in, just in the last few hundred years. Guru Nanak was always, like, there was basically you could say God manifesting in different forms during the different yugs. It just happened to be that one of the ways it manifests. And so Sikhi didn't just start, it was always there. It just had a different form, right? So, yeah.
So basically, there was no, or like what you're trying to tell, there was not a specific origin of Sikhi. It was always there.
You can call it Sikhi today if you want, but what does Sikhi mean, learning? So the funny thing is the three I think Ved does mean thinking. Sikhi means learning. Sikhi, it's a daily usage word, and Buddha means intellect. You see how they all have the same names? Whereas if you look at Christian means Christ, it's a follower of Christ. Jew means follower of Jude, I guess. I don't know. And Islam, I guess it means peace. But the point is that these are three terms where that's always been around. It's just that what's appearing to you now is called Sikhi. That's it. Once the language changes and because we're not going to be speaking this language in another 20,000 years, it changes. So then it's not called Sikh anymore, it's called something else. It's just changing. It's like changing skins on a thing. So that's why I've got a bit more of a universal message. I think it's just the same thing, just changing skins, right? And whichever skin you identify with is the one you should take.
When I was talking to you, you've mentioned Sikhism, you've mentioned Buddhism, and then like on the call when we were having discussion.
Yes.
So first of all, I would like to ask you what is the basic principle of Sikhism that you would like people to know that this is the foundation of Sikhism.
Correct. Yeah. I think it's a matter of what karma you have towards this particular path is what brings you into Sikhi. I feel it's similar faiths with different practices because the end goal is the same for all three, which is moksha, liberation, the end to your suffering. So that's really the goal of all three. I think all three do achieve it. It's just what's available to you and what do you karmically identify with is the difference between the three. So Sikhi has, as everybody knows, of all the writers in Sri Guru Granth Sahib, there's only 5 Sikh gurus. The rest were non-Sikhs. So it just shows you that it's a very open, broad-minded philosophy. Yeah.
Until now, I only know that there were 10 gurus,
10.
and then 5 were Sikhis and 5 were non-Sikhis. I didn't.
No, so the Sikh guru depends on your level. The Sikh guru is actually Shabad Guru, not a Guru Nanak. So that all the Jot lights of all the gurus and the other writers, Bhagats, Pats, are Baba Farid, Muslim. They're all, it's in the Guru Granth Sahib. So actually the Sikh guru is actually Shabad Guru. It's not and I guess, yes, on a lower level, it's also Guru Nanak, which is actually Shabad Guru again, right? It's not the body of Guru Nanak, right?
It's what he's saying.
It's this Shabad, which is Shabad means word. So Sikh is really word Guru. That's really who the Guru of Sikhi is. Yeah.
I think in Hinduism as well, we like if I talk about myself, we also if we don't follow a guru and so following a guru means what he's trying to tell you.
Correct.
So that is the main meaning of guru. Like you don't just go to a guru and then if you take that mantra in the air, and that's not how guru thing works. If so, what I've heard from my guru when I follow him, so he's like, even if you don't wear that kanthi mala in your neck, and even if you don't take mantra from me, you follow on what I'm trying to tell you.
Correct. The message.
Yeah.
Not the personality.
Yeah, so you will become like me.
Correct.
And if you are with me all the time
Yeah.
and not following what I'm trying to tell you, this is not going to give you any benefit.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think that is exactly.
Yeah, so we're trying to understand the Shabda Guru. Now, the thing is, in Sikhi, it's actually written, it's clearly written, and everyone will verify, it's actually the hardest path. And we're in Kali Yuga. I think the reason I have preferred Sikhi over the other two, which I'm open-minded, I don't mind, but I've read enough, but it just seems to be the right tool for the job. Now, you wouldn't show up if you were in Satyug, where everything is angelic and beautiful. You wouldn't show up with the 2 kirpans and a steel mala. It's just odd. You show up peacefully. Because we're in the darkest, hardest age, you actually need your 2 kirpans and the sarablo, which is iron. You know what I mean? We're in the iron age. Use the iron tool. So that's just where I see the world. Maybe someone's mind is so purified, they're in Satyug right now. So for them, good. Follow a more gentle path. But Sikhi has gentle and that. So Sikh says that you are equipped for a mala in one hand and a kirpan in the other hand. So you're equipped for both. Right? And it varies. Like Guru Nanak starts off with a mala. Technically, he did have a kirpan, I think. But he starts off with generally the mala, and it goes to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, which was the shastras. And they have, which is weapons, and they have a lot of practices around that, praising of weapons for that reason. So it's symbolic. And I would say practically, if anyone wants to try the experience, go to bed at night and sleep with a knife next to you. And then if you're in an empty house, and try to sleep without a knife next to you, where are you going to feel better? You'll actually feel better with a knife next to you. So if having these shastras eliminates your day-to-day fear, most likely when you've done a long job of ridding fear out of your mind. Because when death arrives, there is fearful images. None of them are real, hallucinations. But if you are scared in life, you're also going to be scared at death. and that's your gateway to hell.
But don't you think if we talk about spirituality and if we talk about everything that we are trying to do in spirituality, the basic fundament of that thing becomes like it comes down to surrender. So when we are surrendered to some higher power, be it any religion if we talk about, so don't you think uh, having a weapon is good? Like I'm pretty sure if you say that if you have a knife beside your bed, it's you'll sleep better if you don't have one. But don't you think like it's going to happen, and even if you have a knife, whatever's going to happen is going to happen anyway.
It,
I mean that is what.
that's according to your Karam though.
So if it is going to happen anyway, so even if you have a knife, that is going to happen
Yeah,
anyway.
that becomes into a giant other thing about do you have how much of your control have you got over your destiny, right?
But do we have control over our destiny?
Well, that's a giant philosophical debate then, right? But the point is that we know that Karam is a thing. What you plant is what you eat. I believe that the only way someone's going to come in the middle line and stab you is if you've planted those seeds
Yeah.
in the past life
Or this life.
or this life, right? Because it just doesn't happen, right? So, yeah, I guess that, I mean, look, there's another thing about Sikhi, which is that Brahm Gyan, right? So in Sukhmani Sahib, which is a common part, Nanak Brahm Gyani A Parmeshwar. So basically, if I knew the answers to this, I would probably not be speaking today. So that's a Brahm Gyan, that's a giant Brahm Gyan question, right? I think that people, and I think we have this problem in Sikhi and all spiritualities, they go right to the last highest teaching and then they work backwards. I think it's better to work from downwards up. Like in Sikh, you have Japji Sahib as a beginning. I don't think anyone in their right mind will say they've got a full grasp of it because the concepts are just too advanced and will not make sense to anyone unless they just use their imagination a lot. But then you have Slok Mahalla Nova, which is where Sri Guru Granth Sahib nearly finishes. They're concepts that you can easily verify. So I think that in terms of sleeping with a kirpan is that if you got fear in your mind, you're actually not going to get to the next step of thinking about is it all predetermined because you're going to be stuck in fear. So I think you need to step slowly.
But
I'm not saying you go straight to a kirpan, but I'm just saying that eliminating
Yeah.
your day-to-day obstacles will clear you for doing that rather than jumping straight to learning the
that's
deepest
true.
philosophy of the
I mean, and I'm sure it's very difficult to pick out, but I would like to ask you, what is your favorite part of Gurbani? Like, if you want to tell someone, oh, this is something that really moved me.
Yeah.
So, what is it that you want to tell the audience?
It's very simple, death. Because every ang, which is also known as page, talks about death. The whole goal of Karam is about death, actually. It's a death cult. That's what Eastern religion is, right? It's because it's everywhere. You're going to die. There's dead bugs around you. There's dead food in front of you. Death, 100% is coming, right? So the goal is to stop the process of death. And only when so any mortgage problems that you have, so I always say the human lifespan from a baby to death is about 900 and some months. And then you're dead. 900 months, good luck, try your best, and then you die, right? So any mortgage problem, any problem that you have can only go for a few hundred more months. And let's be honest, if we really look at all our problems, there's not a single problem most people would have that's been longer than 5 years. All problems expire in 5 years. So death is the way to live because it puts an end point to all your problems.
Yeah, there was a beautiful thing where when I went to ISKCON and, I was just trying to talk to someone and he was like, we don't teach you art of living, we teach you art of dying.
Correct, yeah.
And that is the main process. The entire life is your teaching
Correct.
on how you're going to die.
Correct.
And that is what exactly the human life purpose is. Everything else is there. But I think that is the purpose that no one should forget, that what we are here for.
Well, we're all dying slowly, right?
Yeah.
So we are dying.
Everything around us is dying
No,
slowly.
but we are technically dying. We're not living, we're actually dying. If you think about it, you're starting to die. You get born and then you start to die. So everybody is dying. So it's not art of living, it's more art of dying, even as a day-to-day practice. It's art of dying. I know it sounds horrible, but
Yeah.
once you sit on it, get used to it, meditate on it, it's not so bad. I need to not worry about the external. I need to calm my mind, right? And then I'll handle the external with a calmer mind. You see, how do I calm my mind? Through only way of calming it is through meditation. What do you want to meditate on? You can do a good mantra, you can do whatever. They all serve to calm the mind.
So you trying to tell us that whatever you do, the only way to calm your mind is meditation.
There is no other way. Pick anything else. It will be temporary. Like you will calm the mind of craving if you get your object, but it's temporary, and it actually increases it anyway. So meditation, unfortunately, I was never a big fan of it, but I've had to become a fan. It took me 3 years to actually like listen and just do it. Is really the only way to calm your mind. Now, what do you meditate on is very simple. If whatever your problem is, if your problem is that your anger is ruining everything, meditate on patience, right? Because
It's the opposite of.
opposite of anger, right? If your problem is that you're married and you can't stand your partner, meditate on their good qualities. And if you're completely free of all these afflictions, then you can start meditating on Guru Mantra or something higher. But you can't be sitting there going straight to Narayan, Narayan, and then you end up wake up and you're just angry at the world. So the thing is, that's why I think you need to fix your mental issues before you get into the higher teachings.
I think it works
I know you
differently
can
for everyone.
I
like,
guess you're
like
right.
if I talk about myself, names, chanting the names was the only way. Like I've tried multiple ways of meditation.
Yeah.
And like I was chanting the names of the god at the very beginning age
Yeah.
part of my life, and then I was deviated from my purpose because I went to my bachelor's.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Mumbai, and then to move to Goa, and then I came to Australia, and I was deviated from my path, and then depression and everything happened to me. And then I figured out that this was not my purpose. I was trying to do something else. And when I went back, I tried everything which I wanted to try.
Yeah.
But for me, definitely different thing works for different people. But for me, deciding the names.
That is the ultimate cure, correct? I get that.
I mean,
But-
I don't want to put it as an ultimate
No,
cure.
it is the ultimate cure. There's no doubt about that. That is the ultimate cure. That's, you waking up.
I mean, it's difficult. It's not that easy. But
Yeah.
the last question which I want to ask you is that what is the best advice that you've got in life?
Oh, there's not one. I got millions of different advices, and you put them all together. Yeah.
So
It's like asking, again, Usain Bolt, what's the best thing that made you a 100-meter sprinter? There isn't one. There's just,
so when
this is why this is an ongoing exercise, a joyous path, because when we use the example of someone who's looking for 3 jobs, while they're working, they should just do a little bit of that, and it'll give them something to think about while they're working, so their work life is a little bit better, right? Like everyone knows that when you go to work and you keep watching the score for the World Cup, the work day seems a little bit nicer. So Dharam is like that. You can just slot little bits in, and it gives you contemplation, right? And then yeah, I guess my best advice then, if I'm being correct, would be contemplation, right?
and advice to the youth out there, like because we focus mainly on youth.
Yeah, mine, because the youth are very the reason. So when they're not faith-based anymore, right? They need facts and evidence, right? So I would say my best advice is because the youth spending their whole time on external material progress. So I'm very simply giving the challenge: find me one material object thing that's gonna cause you more than temporary happiness. Just find me that one. You won't find it, so then why are you wasting your time on that? So I'm saying still pursue it, but not at the expense of your inner peace,
That's amazing.
right? So I still think you should become the president and do everything you want, but can you do it with a peaceful mind? That's a challenge, because becoming president's not hard.
Yeah.
Peaceful mind is harder. So do both. Run both horses.
Uh,
You'll
my-
do a better job of becoming president, let's be honest, right? If you're doing it with a calm, collected mind.
Yes, that's true. My guru always says that whatever you are trying to do since the beginning of the life, does that make so whatever we do is to make ourselves happy.
Correct.
And if we look closely, are we really happy? So if the answer is yes, good. But if the answer is no, then you need to reevaluate on the path that you are going and try to at least change to a different path and see if that thing makes you
Yeah, but
happy.
you
or
might
not.
be deluded by thinking you're happy until you come crashing down.
I mean, that's what.
So-
If you are in the material life and you are enjoying your
You
life,
might think you're happy.
you might think you're
until
happy
One
until-
thing
yeah.
happens, like COVID.
So why not change the direction and see if the other direction, the spirituality gives you calmness and happiness as well? or
Well,
not?
yeah, because it brings you inner peace. all the mantras bring you inner peace. All their lifestyles bring them inner peace. They all have very simple lifestyles. So the point is that you're striving towards inner peace. Which particular method you want, good luck to you. I do think there are some methods that are better than others, but whatever method, you got to start somewhere. Do it, think, just try. But they all have one thing in common: they're trying to bring you inner peace.
That's true.
Yeah. So that's actually what. If you want happiness, happiness, inner peace go hand in hand.
So nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for giving your time.
That's all.
I'm sure you have a busy schedule and taking out some time. I think everyone who's listening to this will be very inspired and will be internally happy. We can say that. Thank you so much.
Always, thank you.